What's up, everybody? This is Whiskey in the Six. I'm Rob, doing a bourbon rundown, 10 years and younger. So these are age-stated whiskeys only. I got the Henry McKenna 10-year-old right here, the Ezra Brooks 7-year-old 50.5%, and the Rebel Yell 10-year-old also 50%. This McKenna is 50% as well. So, and it's considered a bottled in bonds. So all three of these are at least 50%, and they all have an age statement that's no more than 10 years old. Alright, so I'm going to start over here with the Henry McKenna. The Henry McKenna has been getting a huge amount of attention. It's won a few awards, pretty big awards, San Francisco awards, gold medals and stuff like that. So a lot of people consider this one of the better bang for your buck bourbons, and there's many that also consider it the best bourbon you can buy. I wouldn't go that far, but it's very good stuff, and I'm going to tell you why in just a sec. So, this one's a caramel bomb. I know they're batch by batch. This batch, in case it matters to you, is barrel number 5235, barreled on 4/18/08. So, that might help some of you looking to buy specific batches. This one is, like I said, a caramel bomb. And you get a ton of caramel brown sugars on the nose. A little burnt toffee. I do get a little bit of a dill note in the background, so I'm assuming that this is pretty heavily rye bourbon. I'm not 100% sure on that. I don't know the mash bill. I'm pretty sure it discloses it somewhere. You could probably get it on sites like Breaking Bourbon or stuff like that. So dill and then charred oak on the back end, but heavy caramel up front. On the palate, lots of caramel. You do get a little bit of that dill note in there as well. Finish is more charred oak, but really nice. It's buttery. I think 50% is the best ABV for bourbon in my opinion. I mean, that's a matter of opinion only, but I seem to really gravitate towards bourbons that are around 50%. Yeah, really nice. Sweet, but not too sweet. It's got a nice dill kick. It's got a nice charred oaky kick as well. I got this bottle in a trade, so I got two of these for the price of a bottle that cost me around 120 bucks Canadian. I probably could have got them a little bit less if I went to the US and bought them myself, but these are only available in the US, not in Canada, so I thought it was a pretty good deal on my end. Would I do it again? I'm glad I have a backup. I probably wouldn't buy another bottle. It's really good though. I would give this one 86, so it's an A for me. Moving on to the Old Ezra 7-year-old. I said Ezra Brooks earlier, and that's only because it says Ezra Brooks right on the back, but it's the Old Ezra 7-year-old. It's charcoal mellowed, similar to what I guess Jack Daniels does, but they use maple charcoal, right? And again, 50.5% on this one. On the nose, so from day one, this one didn't really wow me too much. On the palate, I get some spicy notes, some baking spices. Maybe a little bit of brown sugar. Nothing too crazy. And I'm not getting any charred notes, despite the fact that this is charcoal filtered. On the palate, this one's opened up since I first purchased this bottle. It's a little sweeter on the palate, a little less reserved. And there is something that actually reminds me of JD on the palate now that I think about it. It didn't have that before, but I think now that it's opened up, it's kind of tasting like that. Makes me wonder how old the Jack Daniel's Select is. I think it's at least around 7 years old as well. That's good stuff. So good stuff overall. I think I paid around 50 Canadian for this at the LCBO. I could be wrong about that. I don't remember exactly. It was available at the LCBO. The barrel proof is available only in the US, not in Canada. I'm going to give this one an 81. That's an A- for me. The palate's actually really nice and it bumps the mark. I was planning to give this a B+, so like in the high 70s according to my marking scheme. But the palate actually won me over a little bit. The nose is very reserved. You don't get a lot from it. You don't get a lot of like sweetness. You don't get the things that you look for in a bourbon. But the palate makes up for it for sure. Like I said, that's an 81 A-. Last but not least, the Rebel Yell 10-year-old. This one is barrel 5083213. And it's, like I said, 10 years old. It's a 2016 bottling. I purchased this at the LCBO. They released a small amount online, and I think a few hit the shelves. I'm not 100% sure. I can't remember. I bought 2 of them. I got one stashed away. I did hear that they're going to stop making the Rebel Yell 10-year-old. So I'm not 100% sure if that's true, but a 50% bourbon nowadays that's 10 years old, already around $100 Canadian, that bodes well for investment purposes. So I decided to get a backup bottle just in case. This one's pretty good. It's a wheater. It's the only wheater of the 3 here, I think. And it smells definitely like a wheater right away. Get nice vanillas and cherries on this. It's a nice little chocolate note on the back end too. Definitely those like syrupy, sweetened cherries on the palate. Yeah, a lot more going on here on the palate in my opinion. Those cherries come through. You get some caramel. You get a little bit of chocolate as well. Really, really nice. It's a wonder to me that more companies are not doing more bourbon that are wheated bourbons. It seems like they're a fan favorite. Obviously, everybody loves Pappy Van Winkle. Many people love Weller. This Rebel Yell is really nice. And Maker's Mark, I believe, is the original wheated bourbon, to be honest. Yeah, this is the winner of the 3 for me. This one's about an 87. That's an A. I would definitely buy this one again. Really, really good stuff. I would even go as high as an 88 for this one. Of the 3, it's the easiest drinking. It's got the most that I'm looking for in a bourbon. When I do go bourbon, I do tend to gravitate towards the wheated bourbons. I don't know what it is. I like the wheat flavor that comes out of the whiskey. I find they're a bit sweeter. They have some notes that I'm not used to in bourbon, which are very noticeable that I really like. It's strange because I love rye. I actually prefer rye to bourbon. But when it comes to bourbon, if it has to have at least 52% corn in there, I want it to be a wheated bourbon as opposed to a rye-heavy bourbon. That's just my personal preference. Everybody's different, of course, but that's what I like. So this one for me is an 87, and I would even go as high, like I said, as an 88, and that's an A according to my marking scheme. Guys, stay tuned because this week, Wednesday, 10 o'clock Eastern Standard Time, I will be doing this Kentucky Owl to cap off American Whiskey Month. There may be a very special guest coming. I don't want to mention any names because I'm not 100% sure if they're going to be able to make it, but once I get confirmation, it'll be all over my social media, Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, and I'll even put up a notice on YouTube. But that's Wednesday night, 10 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. I know it's a little bit late for some people, but I hope you guys can make it. Those of you in the west end of Canada and the United States, it's nice and early for you guys. It's probably around 7 o'clock. And if you're coming from where this gentleman's coming from, it'll be 9 o'clock your time. So there's a slight little hint as to who it may be. I'm not going to mention any names, like I said, just in case they can't make it. But as soon as they confirm, you guys will be the first to know. Alright, you guys can check me out on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook. If you like this video, hit the thumbs up. If you really like the video and you haven't already, hit the subscribe button. You guys can also click that bell so you get notifications. A big notification you're going to want to get is what's happening this Wednesday at 10 o'clock. So hit that bell if you haven't already. Cheers, guys.